My name is Kristen DiLorenzo. I'm a 5th grade math teacher in New Jersey. I'd like to spend a few minutes today just talking about the score report itself and how to read it, and also give you some information about where the scores came from and how I plan to use them in conversations with parents. So I'm looking at the PARCC website, and you can find the score reports under the Assessments tab. You go to Score Reports. You scroll down to about the middle of the page and you'll see Understanding the Score Report, and there are examples of both the English Language Arts and Mathematics score report. Let's start with a look at the Language Arts score report. Here's a student who's currently at a level 3, which would be, according to the PARCC levels, approaching expectations. So, in my opinion, this student is well on their way, but not quite there yet. We're getting there, and this is the first year of this test, so I'm not surprised to see a level 3. Some interesting things about this score report that I want to point out. If you look here, the score is given as both a scale score and a performance level. So this student's performance level is a level 3, and his score is 739. It's important to note here that the scores were set by teams of educators and teachers who over the summer all got together and determined what the range of scores would be for each level. The numbers didn't just arbitrarily get set. This was based on lots and lots of input and discussion and task analysis and performance level setting data, and they all came to agreement on these particular ranges. What I like about this score report compared to the score reports that we used to get from NJ Ask is really this section right here. This gray chart right here really gives great information about how this student performed compared to the school, their district, the state, and the PARCC. Here's an example of the NJ Ask score report, which we've been receiving for the last few years here in New Jersey. And although it's similar in that there's the students are given a score, and they're also placed in a category of partially proficient, proficient, or advanced proficient, there is no comparison to kind of any other data. So we don't know how this student is doing compared to other students in their school or other students in New Jersey, and now we have an opportunity to know how our students are doing on an even grander scale as in the nation. So the PARCC average will be the average of all of the states in the PARCC consortium. As we look further down the Language Arts score report, you can see that scores are further broken down into a reading section and a writing section. And again, those interesting averages are included for both the reading and the writing. What I think is most useful for me as a teacher when I look at this report is the bottom part of the score report where we see these blue arrows. I'm going to zoom into the legend so we can see that a little bit better. So you can see that a down arrow is indicating the student performing below expectations, the left-right arrow almost meeting expectations, and the up arrow meeting or exceeding expectations. So at a quick glance, I can see that this student may need some more work in the literary text area, but he's really got vocabulary down. And on the writing side of things, the knowledge and use of language conventions is a strong area for this student, while he or she may need some more work with writing expression. This is what I think will inform my teaching the most. Here's a look at the math score report, and you can see this is a strong student at a level 5 again, we still have the same colorful graphic indicating the performance level and the child's score, and also the gray section that gives us the comparisons to the district and the state and the school and the park. Interesting on this report is that because it's a high school level report, level 4 and level 5 are noted as the college and career ready levels. So we can be assured that this student is on track to be college and career ready when he graduates high school. This is specific only to the high school reports, and it makes sense on a high school report, but it wouldn't be on the grade 5 or grade 6 or any of the elementary reports. The math report also has a similar section with the blue arrows. You can see, obviously this is a strong student and they are meeting or exceeding expectations in many areas. One area where this student might need some more work is the additional and supporting content. So this would also help to inform my instruction on a broader level. It makes sense to me that students this year will be meeting and exceeding expectations in the major content areas, since that's where the biggest shifts have happened and where I think me as a teacher have been focusing the most of my time and energy. And I also think that as we move forward, the scores around expressing mathematical reasoning and modeling will also continue to improve. Like I said, this is the first year that we're asking students to take this test, and I believe the scores will get better each and every year that we take it. The second page of the score reports looks pretty much the same. There's some information about how parents can use this report to help their child, and there's also information about the different performance levels and what they mean. And there are some frequently asked questions that Park thinks parents will have. I think it's important as I talk to parents, there are a few things that I want them to know. That this Park test is a replacement of the old NJASK test. We're not asking students to take more tests on top of NJASK. It's simply replacing the old test. And that it's only one of several measures. The reports are valuable for both the parents and the teachers, but they are not the only indicator of your child's performance. I think it's also important to acknowledge that scores this year may be lower than they have been in the past. And that's because these tests really measure more complex reasoning skills, and we're moving away from the multiple choice into a different kind of test. And as I said before, it's a new baseline, and I think our scores will only continue to get better as our teaching adjusts and as the students continue to take more tests like these. I encourage you to refer to our website, the New Jersey Teacher Network website, to find more frequently asked questions. And I also encourage you to explore the Park Educator Resource page. There are many videos and lots of information for teachers on this page. You just go to the Park online website and click for educators, and there are many, many educator resources here that will help you have conversations with parents.